What's up, guys? Welcome into Good Morning Lambeau. My name is Clayton. You can check us out on packernet.com. You can find me on Twitter at Packers_access. You can email us, PackersTotalAccess@gmail.com. You can text us 865-658-5824. I'm joined alongside Tim live in Green Bay. Just ready to hang out with you guys and gals this morning, talk a little Packers football. We got all kinds of information to share. I've been digging through SIS this morning, Tim, and it's like, oh, like that. Let's screenshot that. Let's grab that. There's just a ton of things to look forward to with this Packers team moving forward. Of course, we got a playoff game to talk about, so we're going to begin to dive into that as well. A little Packers Cowboys preview. But how are you doing this morning, brother?
Man, feeling great. Got the driveway cleared off. We're good to go.
That's right. I was kind of keeping up last night, watching everybody tweet out and hearing people complain about how long it took to get home and all those things. But man, it looks beautiful for sure. So I know Lambeau Field and the Packers actually tweeted this photo out yesterday. I think it was yesterday or the day before, right when the snow got there. So kind of cool shot there, Lambeau. Just like you said, all quiet, empty, little snow flying.
Yep, a little dusting. No big deal.
No big deal at all, man. I love it, man. I'll tell you what, that place, every time I walk out of that tunnel, I've been blessed to do it probably 10 times now. And it never gets old, man. It never gets old. Just love that place. So,
yep, heaven on earth, man.
Yeah, let's give a shout out to everybody in the chat. Appreciate y'all swinging through this morning, making us a part of your day. We got Omer in here. We got Bleeding Green and Gold. We got Doug. We got Ron Laurencio, one of the coolest names on YouTube. Omer, like I said, got the profile pic changed again. Now we got Dak all sad after the
Dak. I like that.
I like that one. Let's keep that one for a little bit, Omer. At least until we get boat race. Right now, I'm just kidding. I think usually every week I go in and I'm more on the conservative side. I'm like, listen, any given Sunday, and you try to find those little spots where any given Sunday can occur. And this one, many people were expecting the Cowboys to just absolutely boat race the Packers. And I'm kind of looking at it going, I think they lost 3 in a row, if I remember correctly. I don't know if I want to say that. I could be wrong. I know I've got the information here. Let me pop this up real quick, and then we'll come back to it later. We're already off topic. That's all right, though. Yeah, that's the Cowboys schedule there. So if I drop that comment down. It's good to see you in here, Omer. Appreciate you, buddy. Did I even read this comment? I didn't. PTA posse in the house, ready to rock Packer Nation. Let's freaking go. Cowboys, you're next. I love the confidence. All right. So, yeah, when you look at their schedule here, and we'll come back to this in a little bit. I just want to glance. Yeah, they lost 3 in a row. They lost at Buffalo, at Miami, and at home against Detroit. So, they're a beatable team. There's no two ways about it. But I always try to look at it from the coach's standpoint.
Oh, they beat Detroit.
You sure?
That was the Dan Campbell, I can't let go of the 2-point conversion game.
Look at their schedule there on the 30th.
Yeah, it's a dub, 20-19.
See, the spread was what I was looking at. Got it. There you go.
Yeah, and they beat Washington. So, they're on a 2-game win streak.
Yeah, so they lost to Buffalo, lost at Miami. I seen that and was like, I didn't know they lost 3 in a row. So they're talking about they lost against the spread. PFF does it against the spread there as well, which they look like they've hit pretty often this year against the spread.
Technically speaking, they did kind of lose to Detroit, but we'll leave that alone.
Very good point. Very valid point. Cowboy fans swinging through, go, shut up. Don't know what you're talking about. Man, that was one of those things that I went, oh, the call was good. And then I went, oh, the call was bad. And then I heard an official tweet and I went, oh, the call was okay. No, we're good. Yeah, what are they talking about? And then I was like, no, the call was horrible. I kept bouncing back and forth because you get people, trying to cipher through to all the information. And, what is the actual rule? Was it actually ineligible? Did they not report correctly? Was it an illegal formation? It was just like 30 minutes of chaos. I had to delete 2 tweets because I was
nearly 3 weeks later, and Dan Campbell's blood pressure has now finally returned to its normal baseline.
He went from his 6 cups of coffee down to 4 now.
Man,
when you hear about that cat's intake, his caffeine intake, my goodness gracious! But that's a big old engine to fuel. There's no doubt about that. So, all right. Let's do this. Let's kind of get into it. Let me remember what order we were going to go in. I wanted to start on the offensive side of the ball. So why don't we kick things off with a little Ben Kurt. He's one of the best follows, I think, on Packers Twitter. Obviously, former backup quarterback for the Packers, does an excellent job breaking down the tape. You're going to hear people criticize Kurt Benkert. They even criticize Kurt Warner, and I can't help but just roll my freaking eyes. And it's the same people that when it gets to a topic and you talk about whose fault is this, the defense in general, you talk about the defense and it's like, well, they're just bad. They're just a bad defense. We need to get better. Okay, why are they bad? Well, it's just we held them to 9 points. Yeah, but it's how they got the 9 points. Okay. So, and I still don't understand the whole.
How do you find a way to complain about a defense that doesn't give up a touchdown? Is beyond
it's
me.
Unbelievable. There's still people saying that, it's absolutely horrible that you give up a long drive and hold them to a field goal. It's like, you'd rather them score quick. Yeah.
I'd rather them not score at all.
Right. I would rather them get the field goal in 3 plays. I completely agree. But to sit here and pretend like it's a negative that you held them to 3 points is just mind-boggling to me. And the problem is you got these people who are so dug in. And if you go back and follow what they've done all year long, Tim, it's like 1 second it's this team is young. We're just trying to establish what we got. Okay. Make no mistake about it. And you'll see it in their headlines, their tweets, the titles, all that. We're going to this is a team that's built for now. And then it'll go back to, this is a tear down. We got to tear this thing down. Then it'll go back to, we're a Super Bowl contender. It's like same thing with the defense all year long. But
you think God never farted?
Exactly. I understand. Way to put it in perspective, Tim. I understand nobody's perfect, right? I get it. But when you dig in so hardcore every single week, like, no, these idiots aren't looking at the data. Here's what's actually happening. And then you go, why did it happen? What happened? What you explain it? Well, I can't explain exactly what happened on the field. It's just that's what the data show. Okay. Oh, it's so frustrating, man. One of the topics that's been brought up too is Quay Walker's comments. We're going to play them here in a minute. I want to get to Kurt Benkert first. I want to hit the positive, and then we'll get to, it's not necessarily negative, but just kind of talking a little bit more in detail of what exactly is going on with the defense, the organization, because people have tried to paint this picture all year long that the players absolutely hate Joe Barry. And it's a revolt in the locker room and all that. I'm sure there's been issues. You ask any former NFL player. I got a good friend of mine. He's a former edge rusher, played for the Patriots, played for the Chiefs. You ask him, he's like, well, they have no idea how much fighting goes on behind the scenes in the locker room. So to sit here and pretend like if everything isn't hunky-go-dory, that's out of the norm is just silly. I think the Packers do an excellent job keeping this thing together. And I think Joe Barry has done an excellent job in the media taking heat off of his players, and still being honest. The Carrington Valentine gaffe there against the Giants playing too far off. It's like he confirmed, yeah, he didn't get the call. But listen, he's the farthest defender from the call. He's a 7th-round rookie playing his first year in the league. Like, he was giving him every single out. I think the players probably look at Barry like they like playing for him. Now, is he getting the most out of him? I think we would all agree probably isn't. Right. That's why.
The good sign on that Valentine play is that he didn't have a call and he did the right thing, which was played off and kept it in front of him rather than pressing up and getting roasted. So I give him credit.
That doesn't fit their narrative, right? It doesn't give them pitchforks to go, get rid of. And you notice that week too, when they didn't fire Joe Barry, everyone said, well, then by God, Matt LaFleur needs to be gone.
Yep.
Where are they at now? I'm looking for those cats. Where are they at?
I just hear crickets. That's it.
So you got to give this coaching staff credit, man. Just like we've had to give Goody credit too. Goody's he's done a hell of a job with this draft class, man. Unbelievable. But anyway, let's hear what Kurt Benkert had to say about Jordan Love. Again, go give him a follow on Twitter. You guys are already following. If you're following us, you're definitely following him. He does a phenomenal job. We're going to try to get him on the show. I know he's a busy man. Seems like every time I've reached out to him, he's been traveling and stuff. So I don't want to hound him too much, but I'd like to get him on here and just talk a little ball with him and get him to set me straight on some stuff. Because that's the thing too. Like, I'm sitting here talking about other people who are it's not about being wrong. I'm wrong all the time. It's about admitting you're wrong and conceding to the fact that, no, here's what former players, former coaches are actually saying. But here's what Kurt Benkert had to say about Jordan Love.
Team of the NFL season, Jordan Love went insane just when the Packers needed it most. Win and you're in situation for them. He decided to throw for a near 85% completion percentage, over 300 yards and 2 touchdowns. And we're going to dive in and see exactly how he did it. Now we got 3 flooding this way off of motion, little play fake. First hitch, balls out. This one, man, look at like the confidence and the rhythm that he plays with on this throw. And look at how this affects the yards after catch. In stride, doesn't have to miss a beat. And he's able to take this from the 30, slither through a little bit, get an extra 15 yards. And like those accurate throws in rhythm on time are the difference in this offense because they can feed off a yak. Here we go. 3rd and 5, another critical situation. They're down by 3 still. This game was really uncomfortable in the first half. But Jordan Love was fine, dude. Look, they're playing at the sticks. Nice little pivot route. Probably going to wrap inside. But behind him, yep, we got a through route over here. From what it looks like, we got basic on the backside. We'll take it. Let's go back to the front of that. So he goes one, probably an out route over here with a corner route with a burst by the running back with a backside basic. Look at Jordan's feet on this progression. Here we go. First hitch, second hitch, balls out. Like he knows exactly where he needs to go in the progression. He sees it. He puts it back shoulder away from the Mike linebacker that's going to absolutely kill him. I think it's a Mike linebacker. It's one of the linebackers. Going to kill him. Makes a great contested catch. You can see right here, if he had led him, he would have gotten absolutely killed. He's able to make a great back shoulder catch. Holds on to it. And Melton made some crazy catches in this game. Also got robbed of one, but he's been coming on as of late. All of these Packers young receivers have been balling this year. And this game especially, they really stepped up. This game is not over. They're only up by 8. They need this right now. Right here, they're playing 11 plug. This is the plugger. And what that tells you with these guys is they need to be playing outside leverage, outside leverage. He should be playing outside leverage too because he's got help inside. Also, he's got the safety. So let's see how it plays out. All right, they kept their leverage. But what happens? Jordan Love knows that it's 11 plug, knows that this is going to have outside leverage, meaning if he has a through route with a plugger, all Jordan has to do in his 3-step drop is hold this plugger, and he's going to have a rip on a through route. First hitch, balls out, decisive throw on a dime. Like Jordan knows the coverage, sees the coverage, and knows the answer. And that's the thing in this game right now and what you're seeing out of them. Jordan's not being fooled by any protection issues with blitzes. He's not being fooled by many coverages, and the receivers are seeing it the right way because that route by him, it's a through if it's 1 high, it's a seam bender if it's 2 high, and if it's 11 plug and you know you have outside leverage, you need to break to daylight with speed at a great angle instead of ooze out of it. Like they have so much trust in each other right now. They're playing really good football and it's exciting to watch.
Stop playing with him! Stop playing with him!
Exactly. You hear the lingo too, talking about plug. What I'm pretty sure he's talking about is what I refer to as cover 1 drop, right? Playing drop, playing the linebackers, kind of plug in the middle, dropping in the middle zone, short mid zone. I love hearing the different terminology. You'll hear Kurt Warner go, this play here, we called it this. Now you'll hear some former players will just refer to it like everyone calls it that, right? And that's where you can get into a bit of a pissing contest. Me, I tried to create a lingo about 11 years ago for me that works for me. And I try to explain to people when I'm diagramming the play, here's why I call it that, right? And 99% of the lingo I've gotten from other coaches. I've got high school coaches I reach out to. I've got one college coach I'm plugged in with and just try to get a little bit of a better, feel for what the lingo is. And it's not about
trying the same thing. We just say it differently.
Exactly. And as long as you explain it, like Kurt does, it doesn't matter how you say it because you're still giving the explanation.
And then some of these calls too, like on the alerts and the cans and the checks, like they can change the meaning too. Like, I don't know if you heard, we heard a couple Halle Berry.
Yeah.
We've been hearing Halle Berry since Aaron Rodgers was quarterback. You can't possibly tell me that means the same thing this year that it did, 8 seasons ago. You keep some of that verbiage, but you change the specifics. So it's pretty interesting.
Yeah. And, it's the other thing too, you remember ironically down in Dallas, it was several years ago, Chris Christie, the politician, right, from New York or Jersey, wherever it was. Yeah. New York was in the stadium and Aaron changed one of the calls to New York Bozo. New York Bozo. And everybody was like, oh my God. I love Aaron. I do.
Yeah. We've heard a lot of them, Obama, it's right. Just, I think it's a cadence thing. And, a lot of those checks, you want to be creative, but at the same time, you can't have too much. It can't be too much. It's got to be quick and the guy's got to know what's going on.
Yeah.
I always look for that when you'll see Jordan can, and then it's like, look to the line and see how many players are going, okay, I got it, versus how many players are going, wait, what? What's Halle Berry? What does that mean?
Like we seen Sunday, where instead of seeing this, everybody went. And they ran 3 different plays on one play. So there you go. Cheesehead Murph in the house says there's a tweet out there where they said trade Jordan for a first and start Clifford. Shaking my damn head. Ungrateful. It's unbelievable, man. And some of them, it's like they got a big following. And I'm like, oh my gosh. When I come across that, I never want to dunk on people. I never want to comment on their tweets. Now you come into my tweets talking crap, I'm going to slap you a couple times, block you, and move on, right? But I see some of them tweets, and there's been several people. I'm talking about tens of thousands of followers, and I go, mute. He told me everything I needed to know. He's just trying to feed the mob and get interaction, right? But yeah, it's just silly, Murph. There's no doubt about it, buddy. Ron says all these fair weather fans will return whenever the Packers lose. Oh, bro, that's the other thing too that bothers me is they're just giddy, right? Giddy when they win. And then when they lose, I told y'all this in week 3. Yeah. But weeks 9 through 12, you weren't saying that, were you? Now you're back on the doom and gloom train. So anyway.
Try and put the emotions on the shelf and think about this game with your brain a little bit.
Let's be grown up here. Let's be grown ups here. Let's don't just say, well, the defense is bad. They're just bad. God, it drives me crazy. Why, genius? Tell me why they're bad. Omer in the chat says extend Tom Clement's fix Brett Favre's insane interception ratio or interception rate, I should say. Turned A-Rod into the best ball control quarterback ever. Developed Kyler Murray into a very competent quarterback. Turning Love into another Hall of Fame quarterback. I'll tell you this, man. Omer, if you had topped that out in week 7, 2 weeks into this run here, I'd have said, calm down, Omer. The more time goes by, Tim, I'm like, I'm not going to sit here and just roll out, not even roll out, but I'm no longer going to go stop with the Hall of Fame quarterback stuff. I'm just like, what he's doing right now, guys, 18 touchdowns and 1 interception. Is that what it is, Tim? Did I have that right?
Something like that.
It was something crazy. Let's say it's 15. That means he's on pace to have 30 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. I'm going to tell you a quarterback from Green Bay that never did that. That was Aaron Rodgers. Remember, he had 4 interceptions in one season. That was like his best. Like the run that Jordan Love is on right now is, and that's where I do have to step back and go, guys, I don't think he can possibly continue to play at this level. It's just going to kind of come back down to earth a bit. But man, what a run he's on, dude.
Another guy never did that.
His receiving is tough.
Exactly. I don't think he ever came close to it, did he? Doug says, hey, Clayton, you showed us how Jaire played too far off DJ Moore, allowing Moore to catch underneath route with Quay chasing. Said that on a forum and got asked if I was a Joe Barry burner account. Hey, Doug, welcome to the club, my man. If you mention that stuff, like literally, I heard it said again yesterday on a podcast. I was listening to a podcast yesterday, and the guy said, well, if we could just get a DC in here that would stop putting linebackers on wide receivers. And I'm going, y'all, oh my God, you have no clue what you're freaking talking about. You're not even watching. You're not even trying to understand. Someone came at me for that very play and said, I think it was on Jonathan Owens and Jaire was passing it to Jonathan Owens. Okay, so Jaire is one of 10, but you understand Jonathan Owens has an assignment on the opposite side of the field too in man coverage, right? Like, it doesn't work like that.
You can't pass anyone off in man coverage. Your job is to cover your man. You could switch. In theory, you could switch. We could switch. But I can't. Yeah, I can't pass them off to you.
And you've seen the play where he was trying to – literally, it happened twice in the game where Jaire – DJ Moore starts across and he waves Jaire. It was the very first play we showed on Chalk Talk. And Jaire kind of lags. And Savage is going, dude, get over here. What are you doing? Cover your guy. And he runs over. He gets there late. And at the last second, Carrington's watching him like, is he going to get here? And he doesn't get there in time. So they just point at each other and, okay, I'll take DJ. You take him. Right? Carrington,
and Barry's in the booth going,
oh, you know it. You know, and that's what's crazy. They got a camera right here on him, and he never shows that frustration. Yep. Says a lot about the man. While the fans are calling for his head, So Doug went on to say they thought Quay was assigned to cover more. LOL. I've heard it all week long, and I'm just like, and if you bring it up, if you just and the only way I know to respond is to say, hey, you want to jump on a quick call? Let's jump on a quick video call real quick. We ain't got to record it. I'll just show you. I'll show you, hey, here's what I'm seeing. You show me what you're seeing. Crickets every time.
Yep.
Because that removes their ability to just complain about Joe Barry.
Don't let facts or logic get in the way of your misguided opinions, right?
Never let the truth get in the way of a good story. So anyway, it's just and you got to let people fan how they want to fan. I get it. It's just I don't go climbing into people's mentions talking about this stuff. Now, when someone comes at me with it, like he was saying, oh, you a Joe Barry burn account? Yeah, okay. You want to talk ball? No, get out of here. Mute, block, move on. That's all you can do, man. That's all you can do. When we talking about Ben Kurt was talking about these young targets and how well they're playing, right? This is cool. Yesterday we covered the receivers. I went through the tight ends, and I wanted to see kind of where Tucker Kraft stacked up across the league. And I didn't know exactly how this would go. I know he has 0 drops, right? So what I did was I jumped into SIS, and I did receiver rating for tight ends across the league. Minimum 40 targets, okay, to filter out the noise. So you had to have at least 40 targets to make this list, right? Luke Musgrave and Tucker Kraft have both had 40 targets, so it gives us a good even playing field here. Tucker Kraft is currently 4th in the entire National Football League in receiver rating. And what that is passer rating when targeted. It's the quarterback's passer rating when he tries to get the ball to said player. So Tucker Kraft is 4th at 117.4. Ahead of him, Isaiah Likely barely had enough targets at 40, right? Tucker Kraft has 41. Isaiah Likely, 147.0, 40 targets. You want to know why the Ravens have stepped up. Look at their tight end play, bro. Their tight end play is just phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. Isaiah Likely, number 1 at 147.0. Mark Andrews, number 2 at 133.5. Granted, Mark Andrews has, 21 more targets than Isaiah Likely. George Kittle, number 3 at 122.5. Then Tucker Kraft, 117.4. I mean, just absolutely phenomenal. Out of all of the people on the screen right now, and the screen grab would only show the top 14 tight ends in receiver rating with a minimum of 40 targets. There's only one tight end on this screen that hasn't had a drop yet, and that's Tucker Kraft. So it tells really 2 different things. A drop will drop your receiver rating down significantly, right? It's going to. It's going to drop it down. So with that being said, the fact that these other guys don't have any, or these other guys have multiple drops, and Tucker Kraft is still up there toward the top of that, tells me he's not been as good in other aspects of his game, right? That's just something to kind of make a mental note. Nothing, real concrete here, but it is something to make a mental note of. In the number 13 spot, you got Luke Musgrave at 102.8. I think we would all agree going into this year, if you just said, hey, look, one of these rookie tight ends is going to be starting, and he's going to finish in the top 15 in receiver rating, I think we would have been, heck yeah, man, sign me up. Sounds good. That's freaking awesome, right? Because all we've heard in the past is it takes multiple years for the tight ends to get their feet under them, to have success. We have blown that narrative completely out of the water now, and I'm so excited about it. So, again, Tucker Kraft, number 4 tight end in the league with receiver rating, which is passer rating when targeted. When you go to drops, there's only 2 tight ends in the entire NFL who have 0 drops this year. Okay, you can't see it. It's under Good Morning Lambeau, but just trust me. Tucker Kraft and Mike Gesicki out of New England. Tucker Kraft, 41 targets. Mike Gesicki, 45. So I thought that was pretty cool. 1 of 2 in basically ball security, right, is essentially what it is. And he is 4th in the league in receiver rating. So really, really good stuff from Tucker Kraft and Luke Musgrave. What do you think, Tim? What stands out to you about that, man? Any thoughts, comments on that?
Goody looking like a genius again. I mean, Tucker Kraft coming on has just been so huge for this team. I mean, that can't be understated. I mean, you had, Luke Musgrave was really hitting his stride and, kind of really stepping into that, TE1 role. And then, obviously goes down with a, pretty serious injury. And Tuck Norris, man, just stepped up, dude. Just stepped up. I mean, you're talking 0% drops. I mean, if the ball's near him, he's catching it. And then yards after the catch, phenomenal. And then doing the dirty work, man. Just looking for, like you always talk about, looking for work, man. Get out there and hit somebody. Even if you can't get to, maybe someone chipped the guy you were supposed to hit. Well, he'll find someone else out in that progression and lay them out too, and you got to love that. Normally, man, you see a lot of these rookies and these young players, you got to coach them up with that kind of stuff. You got to tell them, hey, we need you to block. We need you to do the little things. And it's like, the guy's a Swiss Army knife when it comes to playing football. And, having not one, but two stellar rookie tight ends, I mean, the future looks bright. And then, I can't say enough about Ben Sims either, who has really come on late and just been, solid for us, especially in the pass pro and run blocking for that matter as well. So, guys like Tyler Davis and Josiah DeGuara are kind of shaking their head a little bit, little nerves. But the tight end room looks good, man, for years to come. And, it's a testament to Goody and his ability to put together a team in the draft.
Yeah, for sure. Jen Wright says 2 tight ends in the top 13, buddy. Yeah, fired up about it. 3rd round curse, Margin Cron says, with the zombie emoji. Think the 3rd round curse is dead is what they're saying there. It sure feels like it. Curse broken. Everybody got it. Jen said curse broken. Nick McSwain, Musgrave at 13. Think of the 12 personnel, right? And think of what we just said with Baltimore. I think let me pull this up. This just hit me. Sometimes this happens because you guys start talking intelligence stuff, and it makes me think of specifically things. Let's see here. Are there any other teams other than the Ravens and the Packers that have 2 tight ends in that category? That's what I want to see. Nick McSwain said Musgrave at 13 there, so just that's what kind of brought that up. Let's see here. Any other teams? You got the Ravens, right? You got the Packers twice. 49ers are not on there twice. The Saints are not on there twice. The Lions are not on there twice. The Chargers are not. The Bears are not. Right? Patriots, surely they are. They run a lot of 12. No, they're not. Chiefs, nope. Right? Yeah. So only the Packers, if I'm looking at this correctly, only the Packers and the Ravens. They're the only 2 teams on that list to have 2 tight ends in the top 14. And the Ravens are one of the hottest teams in the league right now. So that's kind of cool. Cool little nugget there for sure. All right. Finishing up in the comments here. Randy Cleaver says, Kraft is the dog on offense. Brooks is the dog on defense. Man, Carl Brooks, we just got to get him more snaps. We've got to figure out a way to get him on the field. He is so solid, man. And I want to see him stress him a little bit in the run. You know what I'm saying, Tim? Because he does come in a lot of nickel sets, and it's kind of a pass rushing situation. He's that guy that they send out there and say, hey, man, go over and run that TT for Kenny. Just blast 3 linemen out of the way. But he's still getting to the quarterback after blasting 3 linemen. That's what's wild. It happened twice in that game. On 2 different TTs, he still hit home and was pressuring the quarterback himself when his job was really just to occupy at least 2, maybe 3 blockers. I agree with Brooks, and Kraft is that guy. The cool thing about Kraft, too, like Nick McSwain goes on to say, he said, Kraft always looking to bust some heads, and I respect that. What's crazy is at the end of the game, we showed it on Chalk Talk, if you got a chance to see it. He actually, with the game on the line there at the end, you want to ice the game rather than lower his head and try to bust some heads like he normally does, situationally knowing I need to get on the ground here and protect the football. I mean, that's just – the dude, you can tell he's got a high football IQ. There's no two ways about that. All I can think about, too, Tim, is back in training camp. You remember when back at training camp, LaFleur said he was leaving the facility, and as he was leaving, he noticed it was late, too, that evening. Tucker Kraft and Luke Musgrave were still in their room, and they were studying the playbook.
Yep.
I remember him specifically saying, at the time, I'm going, God, don't get your hopes up, man. They're rookies. It's going to take damn near take a miracle to get them on the field consistently and have them actually contribute. Boy, I was wrong on that. Really wrong. So,
yeah, it's hard work beats talent every time. I don't care who you are. And when you're talented and you work hard, this is the end result. Absolutely. And, these rookies, you can't it's really hard to coach up or to teach drive and dedication, those kind of things, when you're, no pun intended, but being a master of your craft takes the effort and being willing to do those extra things. We talked about that last night with our offense, and meeting with Jordan every Monday over at the house and having some food and breaking down film, and that kind of stuff is extra. That's not required of these guys, especially young players too. This day and age where there's so much to do. You got more money than you've ever had in your life, and a little bit of fame and notoriety. It'd be real easy for a young man to kind of get caught up in the wrong habits, and it's just refreshing to see in Green Bay our guys are all ball all the time during the year. You can go get on your jet ski and have fun in the off season.
Yeah, just try to wait about 3 months before the season. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's get that out of your system. There was somebody in Florida this year or last year it was. They got hurt on a jet ski like right before camp. That's so frustrating, isn't it?
Right. Or like JPP, blowing his fingers off with a firework. It's like, God, could you imagine getting that call? Talk about the NFI of all NFIs. I'm giving up. I mean, to his credit, he hasn't missed a beat. I mean, the guy is still playing effective football, even being down a few chunks of finger there. But yeah, man, you got to love the players that are just, focused, man. And that's the difference. That's what, professional, right? That's what a pro does. You're a professional in all senses of the term.
Or how about our man, Plexico Burris in the club, shot himself in the leg, didn't he? Shot himself.
Yeah.
Like, listen, it's one thing. I live in Tennessee. We all carry down here. We carry everywhere. Like, we protect our community. That's just how we see stuff. That's why you don't get a lot of crime where I'm at. Is because anyone who thinks about, committing crime, they're looking around going, yeah, he's probably got a gun. He's probably got a gun. I'm just saying. And I'm all for, making sure that everyone is safe. And there's been a couple of times I've looked up and went, oh God, he's probably got a gun. You know what I mean? Like, there's some idiots out there too. But
Plexico he taught us all the lesson. If you're gonna carry a gun, you got to have a holster.
Yeah, shot himself in the leg in the club. I'm sorry, Plexico. I got to do this to you. All right. Jen Wright says, "What's that, Tim?" Jen Wright says, "Loved when Musgrave catch the pass and everyone screams Luke." Reminded me of Coon. Yeah, I love that stuff too. Same thing with Christian Watson. When we get him back healthy, we got to get the scoot going. Scoot would be perfect. I heard him say it a couple times, but obviously the injuries have kind of put a little bit of a damper on us being able to say it consistently, I should say. So, good stuff. I agree with this. Cody in the chat says we need an Aaron Jones statue. We need 2 of them. Matter of fact, put 3 of them up. Because
we need the one of the wave, right?
Yeah, exactly. Oh my gosh, man. We got to pull that up. I'm going to have to post that GIF later on Twitter for sure. So let's move along here, Tim. Let's keep this thing rolling. Let's move on to the defensive side of the ball. We had a comment. I think I unmarked it like a moron. Actually, we got a super chat. It was something about Jaire. You marked it, and I don't even know if I covered it. Talking about
Jaire. I know we were moving on. He was talking about making Jaire captain this week.
Yeah, he said make Jaire captain this week for shutting down DJ Moore, even though he didn't follow him sometimes. So we'll talk about the defense here. Badger Trio, thank you for the super chat, buddy. He says 7.5 underdog. Yes, please. Shock the world. Hey, house money, baby. House money. Nobody expecting you to win. But I guarantee you this, Matt LaFleur has got that 7.5 points plastered all over 1265. Letting them guys know they don't think you stand a chance. They don't think you stand a chance. I'll tell you someone else who was good at that was the New England Patriots and with Rob Gronkowski. I think it was Billy O'Brien, his first stint with the New England Patriots. Hearing Gronk talk about how he coached him, he would come over to the sideline and just talk absolute crap to Rob Gronkowski. They're owning you. They're putting you and just putting a quarter in him. And Rob, literally Edelman on his pop is like, you could see Rob's face completely change from Rob to Gronk. It was just go out there. And I don't know if you ever seen the video of him throwing the guy out of the club, what he referred to. It was absolutely awesome. He blocked a dude from like the 5-yard line into the corner near the pylon, drove him 8 yards out of bounds and pancaked him. And they asked him after the game. I think he got a penalty for it, too. They asked him after the game, what happened. He said, well, he's just running his mouth off. I had to throw him out of the club. It was absolutely
an old bouncer move.
Gronk, I think, I'd have to sit down and dig through the numbers, but I feel really comfortable saying Rob Gronkowski's the greatest tight end to ever play the game. He was just, man, someone you could line up on the boundary and he could play receiver at that with that body, his body control. That's what I'm kind of hoping we got with Tucker Kraft, someone cut from the same mold, right? And Luke Musgrave too.
It looks like we do, really.
It reminds you of him. And I know I'm going to get roasted for saying first ballot Hall of Famer, a rookie tight end reminds you of him. But when you see him with the ball, man, it's like his hands are the thing I'm most surprised about. You expected him to run over people. You expected him to have crazy size and athletic ability. You expected him to kind of be that inline tight end, although I think the analytics show Luke Musgrave's been a little bit better at run blocking. You see Tucker getting better every week. I didn't expect him to have that good of hands coming out of a small school. Usually Christian Watson, what was the issue early? Drops, right? He was struggling catching the ball. I expected Tucker to be the same way, man. He's been as sure-handed as they are. And when he catches the ball, it's like it disappears. Yeah. He engulfs it. He's such a massive human being. It'd be like us catching a Nerf ball, you know what I mean, with his hand size and all that. So, again, Badger Trio, thank you so much for the super chat, bub. We appreciate it. Let's talk about defense real quick. So we read this quote off the other day. Preston Smith was asked, and Matt Schneiden tweeted this out, said Preston Smith responding to Joe Barry, said, quote, Joe B's been dialing it up. He gets a lot of hell in the media. But we've come together. We play for Joe B. Kenny Clark said something similar, right? Well, our boy Quay Walker had something to say here. Keep in mind, this is 1 week after Jaire Alexander was suspended, right? If you guys would hit that like button for us so other Packer fans can find this channel, find this content. Here's what Quay Walker had to say about it. It's really the first part that I'm going to play, and I'll probably just end it because the rest of it is just he kind of gives vanilla answers, and I don't blame him. You don't want to give the media anything. But here's what he said referring to Joe Barry and just the play call and everything.
Stepped up when it mattered most, had 5 sacks as a team. What did you feel like was different this game?
I just feel like we bought into the plan. A lot of guys, they come in here with a different mindset of, we don't like that call, whatever the case may be. Just buying in, controlling what we control, and playing everybody doing a 111 on the back end, holding up routes so the pass rush can get there. And all that just tying together whenever you do that.
Obviously, you went through so much last season. Yeah. Mentally for you, the place you're in right now, being a playoff team, how much different is this year for you compared to last season?
Man, I'm way better mentally than I was last year. I put a lot on myself as a rookie, being a high draft pick. So I had a lot of high expectations, seeing what people were saying about me, stuff like that. So I was always just trying to prove people wrong instead of proving myself right. And like now, the position I'm in mentally, it's been the best. So kudos to everybody who helped me along the way. But I feel like I play my best ball whenever I'm in that position mentally.
Do you feel like everything that you've been through up to this point has put you in a position to play your best ball now?
Yeah, that actually helped me. All the mistakes that I made, it actually helped me in today's time, I'll say. So as bad as I don't like what I did, I actually like it because it made me look at things different, get a different aspect of things, and just be more grateful for the opportunity that I have.
Just last thing, you get to play Dallas in the first round, obviously a team that has a lot of offensive weapons. Mm-hmm. What's the first thing that stands out about them that you feel like you guys are going to have to defend well?
I can't quite say too much because I ain't really watched them. We haven't played them. We played them last year, so they got some star players with Tony, CD, but I got to look at the other guys and see, but I don't want to say too much because I haven't watched film on them, but that's pretty much it.
So, again, that opening part, I'm going to play it one more time.
You guys stepped up when it mattered most, had 5 sacks as a team. What did you feel like was different this game?
I just feel like we bought into the plan. A lot of guys, they come in here with a different mindset of, we don't like that call, whatever the case may be. Just buying in, controlling what we control, and playing everybody doing a 111 on the back end, holding up routes so the pass rush can get there. And all that just tying together whenever you do that.
Hey, it looked like Quay stepping up as a leader and saying, look, I think people weren't buying in. They weren't. What have we shown all year long on the tape is blown coverages, Jaire refusing to follow. It's not just Jaire. There was other people that were not refusing to follow, but blowing their coverage. I'm not trying to put this on just 23. But lo and behold, the suspension happens. The defense kind of steps up again. The young guys are going to listen to the coaches. Carrington, Ballantyne, those guys, they're going to listen to the coaches. Anthony Johnson Jr., he's going to listen to the coach. He may make a mistake, but it's not going to be because, well, I ain't doing that, right? And we still showed you 3 different plays, one specifically where Ja just completely bailed on his third deep, right? His deep third responsibility. And luckily, Justin Fields' booty cheeks and he didn't see the crosser. If he hits that crosser, It's fire Joe Barry, fire Joe Barry. When it should have been, why is Jaire not playing his assignment there? And you're going, Clayton, how can you be so sure? Because it's literally process of elimination. Deep third. Where's the deep third over here? We just decided we wasn't going to cover the deep third. Okay, who's on that side? It's got to either be Ja or Owens. Okay, Owens clamps down on the inside technique. If he's taken the number 1 or even the number 2, because once he crosses midfield, it now becomes if and then. If he crosses midfield, if he cuts across the middle, then it becomes man coverage in zone match. The only other answer left on the field is Ja's supposed to cover deep third. And he's thinking, nobody over here is attacking it. Man coverage mentality. When all honesty, it's, I don't need to be there now. We got a crosser coming, right? It's all about side adjustment. So I think that's what he's talking about there. What do you think, though, Tim, on his initial comments there? You can also comment on him growing as a player, obviously. I think that's absolutely huge. But that first comment just really stood out to me. You've now got Kenny Clark. You've got Preston Smith. You've got Quay going, hey, I think guys were just not liking the play call, and they need to buy in.
We had Ja saying that, too.
Right.
At the beginning of this year, Ja himself said that. Yeah. So, it can be tough to get young players to buy into things if they don't quote unquote believe in it. But I think what we've seen is, these guys have a reason to believe. When you see Preston talking about, hey, we play for Joe B, it may have taken a while to sell them on these concepts, but I think when they go and they review this tape and these film from these games, they're starting to understand it. And I'm sure there was an adjustment made in this last game against Chicago because, Jaire in the first half versus Jaire in the second half was like night and day. And you got to wonder if someone, pulled him to the side at halftime or got in his ear a little bit and said, Ja, come on now. Yeah. What did we talk about? And then he's like, yeah. Okay, you're right. Let's go. And, when you've got 11 guys buying in and doing their jobs, you get a performance like we saw against the Bears. And I can't say enough, just like Badger Trio here. Walker's grown up a lot since last year. I love the comment, Quay said, I was focused on proving all these people wrong rather than proving myself right, and
huge, man.
I understand where he's coming from with that. And you see a lot of growth from this young man because he took it upon himself to do it. The frustration that he had last year, some of these knuckleheaded plays that he made, he knows that that's on him, and he knows, how you arrive at confrontation determines how you deal with the confrontation. Well, it's the same thing with adversity or mistakes. A mistake is only a bad thing if you don't learn from it. And Quay Walker had plenty of those mistakes in his rookie year and has clearly learned from all of them. I think of all the plays that we've had in all of these games this year where we've had extracurricular crap after the whistle and guys, jibber jabbering and little extra shove and pushes and shoves. And Quay I've seen him put his hands behind his back. He'll put his hands behind his back and start backpedaling away from that. Almost like I'm not even going to give myself a chance to overreact here and get myself and my team in trouble. And it's like this guy went from becoming a personal foul liability last year to literally the most stable guy, arguably, on this defense. And we saw it in some of the film when we did Chalk Talk the other day, Quay doing a little trash talking, a little gamesmanship after the play. Hey, that's part of football, man. You want a guy that's going to play passionately and give it his all and, maybe talk a little trash. That's okay. But, there's limits to all of this, and he understands that. So, and that's what being a leader is. These younger players on this team can look to a guy like that, who is not a rookie anymore, but certainly not full-on veteran status. So, a guy like Quay Walker is, super easy to relate to if you're a young rookie on this defense. And, he leads by example, and he's, also leading off the field too. And love the comment about Dallas, hey, I haven't really got into the film yet. I'm sure they're doing a deep dive right now as we speak.
Oh, yeah.
And you got to respect a guy that's willing to hold his comments until he sees film. So, shout out to Quay Walker, man. Yeah. One of my favorites, absolute favorites on this team.
He really is, man. He, like I said, he won me over when he was walking down that tunnel after getting ejected last year. I was just like,
yeah. And the casual idiots are looking at that like he's throwing a temper tantrum.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, he was mad at himself.
Yeah, he still doesn't get it. He still doesn't get it. He's blaming everybody else. Are you watching what I'm watching right now?
Yeah.
And it's just a perfect example of in the moment how people tweet emotionally. And it's so obnoxious, man. So obnoxious, especially with the defense. Like they were quiet all night against the Bears. And, they being the people who are just wanting this defense to fail, the 85%, whatever it was that voted they would rather us lose out and fire Joe Barry than, make it to the playoffs and end the season on a positive note and keep him. And I understand the votes that says I want both. I got you. That's probably where I fell. But it's just that emotional. And you watch them. If you watch Twitter, quiet all night with the Bears, but all the other games the rest of the season, quiet. As soon as something goes bad, here's this defense. It's like they had it topped up in a draft. So they'd be ready to hit tweet as soon as it happened. It's hilarious. Jen Wright in the chat says Jaire rises to the occasion versus top wide receivers. Maybe rust still. I've seen a lot of rust in man coverage, Jen, to be honest. The thing I'm concerned about is the mental mistakes. And to me, it's not like he doesn't know what to do here, mental mistake. It's he's still trying to push back on the system a little bit, the scheme. Like, just jump in, man. And I don't think he's out there going, man, the heck with this scheme. I'm going to do what I want to do. I just think he's so used to being in his own head is what it feels like, right?
I think he's like got the best intentions. It's almost like I agree. Like, I don't think he's like hating on the scheme. I think he's the type of player that wants to like do it all on every play. And
Very
you know
true.
what I mean? And that's why you see him sometimes, bite down when I shouldn't be, because maybe I can jump a route here and make a play, or, so it comes from a good place. The problem is it throws things out of whack when you're trying to run a scheme. And I think that's part of Ja's maturity too, as a player, as he's, like I said, kind of really fully stepping into veteran status in this league now, in that middle ground, right? You're not a rookie. You're not really a young guy. You're still young, but it's like he's really putting his whole repertoire together as a player. And, the rust factor is a real thing, but, I'm gonna be honest. I don't want to hear it anymore. You've had a couple games here, the suspension probably did more good than bad, honestly, I think. So let's see what happens, down the stretch here, playoff football. And, you got to remember, Ja's one of those guys that does have, one of the few on this team that has some playoff experience. So, we have to lean on guys like that. We have to look to Ja to be a leader in this scenario. And, who knows? Maybe that's part of this game plan going into Dallas. Maybe Joe Barry does kind of dial it up a little bit and go, all right, Ja, you want to do a little of this, a little of that. Let's work it into the game plan so the other 10 guys on the field know what the hell you're doing out there.
Right.
And maybe we can utilize that, because we're going to have our hands full, man. CeeDee Lamb is no joke. That guy is no freaking joke. And, this secondary's got to be on point on Sunday for us to get a dub.
And you've seen Meg several times on
Yeah.
Sunday, right? You've seen man everywhere you go several times with Ja. It's just the plays that the coverages got blown. He played outside of the scheme. And then one time he tried to pass it. He didn't even try to pass it off. It's like he was expecting everyone else. You can't go in with the mindset of guys adjust to me. If you're a true leader, you've got to be willing to pick other people up.
I don't want to see Meg. I'd rather see Mod for him, honestly.
It bothers me that Savage, of all people, Darnell Savage, is having to correct the highest paid corner in the game. And I understand Savage is making the calls and stuff. Savage wasn't going, hey, Ja, here's the call. Savage was going, Ja, what the hell are you doing? Like, get over here. Which tells me that was either supposed to be just a normal cover one call or Meg on that specific play. I'm pretty sure that was just cover one if I remember right. Because Meg is where you can throw in a man everywhere you go in specifically a zone defense, and most of the time is a cover two look. Or maybe
I feel like Ja would do better with Mod. Like stay in quarters concept and give him an opportunity. Like, hey man, if he crosses your face, go.
That's what's got to be frustrating for the coaches, Tim, because they're looking at it the same way we are, going, he would dominate in strictly Mod, just playing zone match.
Yep.
And you still get your man coverage aspect, right? But it's like I don't know, man. I don't want to say what I'm about to say, but I'm going to say it. I feel like it's one of those cases where, you conveniently pick when you don't like something. Like in this specific moment, I don't want to do this, so I'm just going to complain about it and raise stink and not do it like a little kid. But I know this. He's definitely he's earned a lot of my respect. The way he came back, the way he just kind of embraced the locker room coming back in. Let's hope he balls out, man. I'll tell you. And here's the thing: I showed you guys. It was 3 plays on Chalk Talk where he popped up, and I didn't show those plays just to go, look at Ja. I showed a play because we got a sack, and if it hadn't been for the sack, because Ja dropped his coverage, it would have been a touchdown on the crosser. The other 2 were explosive plays, one of which was primarily because Ja refused to play his assignment. So in those specific situations, it wasn't like I was going, hey, let's rag on Ja. It was just, damn, the only 2 explosive plays we had, he was kind of somewhat at fault here. So you had to show it. And even
when he leaves an assignment, jumps a route, and gets a pick 6, we're all happy and nobody cares. But it's like the problem is we haven't seen that in 2.5 years. That's the problem. So,
and he's the highest paid corner in the league. That hurts. So the other thing too,
I like Nick McSwain's comment, right? I don't care if you don't like the scheme. You're getting paid to play within the scheme. You just got to give your best, even if you don't like it. I mean, that's like all of us deal with in our daily lives, right? We're, part of being an adult is doing crap you don't necessarily like. But if you're getting paid to do a job, you got to do the job,
Absolutely. And the other thing too, like now go the completely opposite end of the spectrum. Carl Brooks. Hey, Carl, here's your job. You're not going to get the sack. Okay. What I need you to do is sacrifice your body and run as hard as you can and put your face into 650 pounds of human being so someone else can get the sack. And Carl's like, got it, coach. Let's roll. You know what I mean? On those TT stunts specifically is what I'm talking about. So Badger Trio says, I love this team, man. They're going to grow together. I hope Ja's a part of it too, Badger Trio. I want him to be a part of that growth. I want him to you could tell the DBs look up to him. You've heard Carrington Valentine talk about him. I just want him to get 100% invest. And we don't know if he isn't, right? It could have been the rust. I feel comfortable saying that was the rust. Like Tim said, let's put the rust aside now. Let's go play ball. Randy Cleaver's in the chat said coming together as a team at the right time. It's huge, man. It's absolutely huge.
You gotta think that Jaire is having an impact too, because when I look at Val and Bell and Ant Johnson and these guys, you see some of that swagger and that confidence.
Oh yeah, you see and
and you know what's funny? It's like I don't care. I know there's a lot of people out there that I don't like that crap. Just play ball. I get it. But, man, if you're a DB in this league, you need that. You've got to have a little bit of that swagger because you're going up against elite receivers. I mean, the talent in this league compared to 10 or 15 years ago is just absolutely insane, the way these guys run routes. They're 40 times. We talk about RAS, Goody's favorite metric. And it's true. So, you're going to get cooked if you don't walk out on that field with some semblance of confidence. Like I said, it's a fine line between confidence and cockiness, aptitude and arrogance. But, I think Ja does a good job of working with these young guys and being that kind of positive influence to them. And it may explain why we're getting such good play out of our rookie secondary guys. I mean, for all intents and purposes, this secondary should be getting lit up when you look at, the issues we have at safety and, having a bunch of young rookie corners. And it's just, we're seeing really good play. A lot to work on, obviously, but I don't think you can understate what Ja brings as far as leadership to that cornerback room.
Yeah, I agree. Read that. I've got a couple of chats there, Mark. I'm going to download a video real quick. I want to show to the guys.
Oh, yeah, Ron here. Oh, you can't play a violent sport like this without a little talking. Yeah, like we were talking about Quay Walker,
Loved it. I got to cut that video, Tim. I got to tweet that out, man.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That after that play, that was great. And that's how you do it, right?
Right.
Little comment, get in your head a little bit, and then I'm out of
here. You don't throw a punch. You don't shove. You just get right in that ear and go, boy, I'm right here all day long.
That's right. Or when he pancaked that offensive lineman, that was just
stared at him.
Classic. And then and no talk after that when he just kind of looked down like, you good, bro?
Yeah. Everything all right?
You're all right.
How's the weather down there?
Yeah.
Love it. It's so true, though. There's a lot of talking for sure. Josh in the chat said, did anyone see the reporter in Wisconsin saying live outside Lambeau And Jaire said Pack is back, and she didn't even know it was him. So maybe I should trigger up the conspiracy music. I kind of felt like this might have been staged, not with Ja, but well, I guess it would have had to been. The news agency came out and said, God love her, she had no idea. So maybe it's legit. Some people are going to shut up, Clayton. I don't care if it is staged. Let's pretend like it's real because it is gold. This is what they're talking about. I actually pulled the video. You ready for this, Tim? I know you've seen it. This is absolutely phenomenal. Josh, thank you for bringing this up, buddy. Here we go.
And I'm sure they'll bring that energy right to Texas.
I'm just tell you, Pack is back.
You heard it from a fan right here. Pack is back. Tickets to Sunday's game range from close to $200 all the way up to thousands of dollars on Ticketmaster. So we'll see what the representation looks like over in Dallas. Live outside Lambeau Field, Emily.
One more time.
And I'm sure they'll bring that energy right to Texas.
I'm just tell you, Pack is back.
You heard it from a fan right here. Pack.
Took it down.
Look, I'm going to tell you right now, there's absolutely no way that was staged.
Hey, thank you. Thank you. I hope it wasn't.
I can tell you from experience. I've done. I never did TV, but I did radio a long time ago. Live feeds, live broadcast is a whole different ballgame. I challenge any of you out there to go ahead and try and do it. It's extremely difficult, especially in today's media where these reporters are having to produce, film, do their own story. You know, I'm almost willing to bet you there is no way she had a cameraman out there. She probably set up her own camera, set up her own shot, doing her own story. And when you're live and somebody crashes a shot like that, I honestly think she barely even looked. You know what I mean? It's an honest mistake. It's not like, it's not like she doesn't know who Jaire is. It's like, I think she was so focused on trying to do her job.
Right.
That it probably dawned on her later, like, oh, that was a Packer that crashed my shot, So guys, ease up on the reporter here, like they have more on their plate now as journalists than they ever had before. So kudos to her for rolling with it too, and just kind of finishing up her report. That's total professional right there.
Yeah, and everyone in the chat saying no way it was staged. They completely agree. Now I'm gonna play it one more time. The thing you said about live TV, you notice how the audio cut for a minute? So it kind of made me think, did somebody cut the clip because it was live, right? Or do you think that was pre-recorded? What do you think? You think it was actually, I think it was probably live. But nonetheless, watch how the audio cuts like they were worried he was going to say something inappropriate.
And I'm sure they'll bring that energy right to Texas.
I'm just tell you, Pack is back.
Did you hear it? It's
that could be anything, that could be a glitch. That could be, I don't know. You know what I mean? I'm telling you though, I think there's no way it's staged. The crazy part is loving the fact that at 7:30 in the morning or whatever, you got Jaire hanging out on the Lombardi Avenue side there by the atrium side. Yeah. So another reason to assume he's a fan. And hey, let's be honest. You don't think Jaire's a fan of the Packers? Come on now. Of course he is.
That could have been the case too, Jen. He might have said OS or OF or something like I seen the camera, and they had to cut that out. Could have been. I don't think I've ever heard him use bad language though. He seems like one of those guys that I know he talks crap, but I don't know. I just want him to be the old Ja, man. I want him to go out there and just ball out because he's so much fun. So much fun to watch when he's on. If you don't believe me, go watch the Rams game. God, that was old Ja. And this last game too, what I was trying to point out, the 3 plays we showed, they were negative plays. Yeah, still graded as a 73. So what does that tell you about the rest of the game? He's trending back in the right direction. So let's see him go out there and ball out against the Cowboys. So, all right. Let's get out of here, Tim. I had a bunch of other stuff to cover. We'll roll it into tonight. I'll try to get organized. I was going to show a Dan Orlovsky breakdown of Jordan Love. We've also got a bunch of Packers-Cowboys stuff to dive into as far as a preview. We'll also have the injury report for this evening to kind of see if the Packers are getting healthy. I'm not going to believe anything on Christian Watson, especially after Matt LaFleur basically came out and said, I kind of misled y'all a little bit. I respect it, Coach, trying to keep that competitive advantage, but I don't think we can dig too deep into what their plan is in that regard. But if you guys would, hit that like button for us so other Packer fans can find this channel, find this content. Also want to give a shout out to Packernet Podcast. If you guys would, if you like this type of content, you can scan the QR code in the upper right or just search Packernet Podcasts. That's where you'll find, like I said, this podcast. You'll find Ryan Slip's Packernet Podcast, Jake Shavink, It's Always Draft Season podcast. Got a bunch of stuff going on. I think there's, on average, we got 4 brand new podcasts every single day. So if you're one of those Packer fans that as the coverage winds down at the end of the season, you find yourself having to dig through podcasts to find stuff in the off season, you don't have to worry about that with Packernet. There'll be content up every single day, even in the off season. We are a 365-day-a-year network. So make sure you go like, subscribe, all that good stuff, wherever you get your podcast. Tim, you got any parting thoughts, Bubba?
Yeah.
I tried this one chili and it set my mouth on fire, and I had to drink a 2-liter of Mountain Dew.
That Dew, got to get that Dew. And never forget, Mr. Fiddles was 2006 Christmas MVP, obviously for his defensive performance there when the kid opened the PS2 or PS3, whatever it was, PS4, PS7, whatever they're up to now. So with that being said, guys, we're out of here. Appreciate everybody hanging out with us. We'll be back this evening for PTA Live. We'll have an injury update. Want to give a special thanks to Badger Trio for the super chat. You are the man. Really, really appreciate you supporting the stream. For those of you listening on the pod, thank you for making us a part of your day. As always, let's go out and be the change we want to see in the world, and go Pack Go.